Hello and welcome inside Phoenix Municipal Stadium for another edition of the SunDevilSource Baseball Series Recap Show. I'm Jacob Brooks alongside Luke Lendler. And Luke, ASU just picked up its first home Big 12 Series victory over Kansas, but it was a crazy game, to say the least, today for ASU to get that victory. ASU split Friday and Saturday's games, going 1-1, then got the victory tonight, defeating Kansas 7-6, but it was a roller coaster of a game that was eventually capped off by New Contradas getting that walk-off home run. Can you just kind of take everyone through what transpired today? Because there were so many lead changes.
Well, it was pretty chaotic, and you just said it yourself. There was a lot of lead changes. Kansas broke out, took the lead initially. ASU snatched it back. Kansas snatched it back, and then a couple big RBIs from Jacob Tobias late. He had a double off the left center field wall, and the vibes in the ASU dugout and in the stadium were thinking, okay, up 5-4, we're going to close this one out. And then Lucas Kelly hadn't given up an earned run all season, comes into the ninth inning and gives up a 2-run shot. Suddenly Kansas is the lead once again, and there's a sense of dread, the sense of, oh my goodness, not again. But New Contradas saved the day. Landon Harrison had a leadoff single. New Contradas stepped up, lifted a ball that honestly didn't really look like a home run, at least right off the bat, but it carried and it dropped over the fence in right field, and ASU took this one to capture its first ever home Big 12 series win.
So, Luke, although ASU got the series win, there's a lot to take away from the series if you're Willie Bloomquist and company on a negative side from the pitching staff. Ben Jacobs, he had kind of a funky start on Friday. That's how he described it in his postgame presser, and that's how Willie described it Friday night in his presser as well. Ben Jacobs only gave up 1 earned run, but had 8 walks in 5 innings of action. That was odd for a guy that's an MLB draft prospect. Then Jack Martinez, he went into this weekend leading the Big 12 in strikeouts. Then he had probably his worst start so far this season on Saturday. And then Jaden Alba, who had been dealing with what Willie described in his postgame presser today as a bicep tingling issue that had kept him out since March 2nd against Minnesota. Alba had a very rocky start today. Only went 3 innings, gave up 2 earned runs in the first inning, looked a little bit shaky. What do you make of this starting pitching staff moving forward?
Well, this isn't the kind of weekend where Willie can just burn the tape and disregard what happened, because for better or for worse, just like you said, the starting pitching was a little inconsistent. But still, just like they did today, the starting pitching at least twice this weekend found a way. Alba was, at least very much appeared to be, not 100%. He looked a little lacking confidence in his pitchings and his stuff, and I think as a result he wasn't the dominant force that he had been early on in these Sunday games. He went only 60 pitches. Willie talked about that in his postgame presser. There was a pitch count that they were trying to work around. So 2 runs in 3 innings, not tremendous numbers, not horrible numbers, but he's trying to find his stride again. Jacobs has had a lot of interesting starts in the past few weeks. This one probably chief among them. Like you mentioned, I mean, he was pulled, his pitch count was in the triple digits when he was pulled, and it was only 5 innings. That's the kind of thing you don't see often, but for him to only give up that 1 run, even with the 8 walks, if you're an optimist, you see this weekend from the ASU starters as, hey, a lot of things went wrong, a lot of stuff was funky, and they still won the series. Or if you're a pessimist, you're thinking they might not get lucky this many times in a series as the season goes on. And if you're not hitting on Jack Martinez on Saturday, who had frankly been their most reliable starting arm all season, there might be some cause for concern going forward. But for Willie, I think it's most important for him to see the good and the bad, try to draw that line right in the middle just to understand what he has going forward in this Big 12 schedule.
So, Luke, you talk about seeing the good and the bad, the pessimistic view and the optimistic view for ASU's pitching staff. It's a very, very similar situation when talking about ASU's regarded as a star-studded batting order, 1 through 9, has been kind of inconsistent over the last week or so, including this series. And it's funny because at the start of the season when we were doing these recap shows, we were talking about, hey, guys like Brandon Compton, Isaiah Jackson are shining, and guys like Kyle Walker just haven't found their groove yet. Now it's Kyle Walker who has 6 straight games with multiple hits, and it's guys like Isaiah Jackson, it's guys like Brandon Compton, it's guys like Jacob Tobias, and it's guys like New Contradas before his walk-off who have kind of been inconsistent and struggling. And then Kian Vu seen in the dugout with a boot on. Willie said in his postgame presser that hopefully Vu will be back next week. Maybe it's 2 weeks. He said he doesn't want to rush it, but clearly this hitting group is not operating on all cylinders like it's made out to be. And what do you make of that? Can they get it going?
I mean, they're getting contributions from guys you might not expect. Landon Hairston looked good again today. Willie was a big fan of him, has been a big fan of him, and made it very clear in the press conference how much he liked him. Fairly or unfairly, he said he's comparing Hairston to Ryan Campos a lot. That's about as high of a compliment as you're going to get when your head coach is Willie Bloomquist, and Hairston looked the part today. He had 2 hits. You mentioned Kyle Walker. Slow start to the season, but recently, man, he's been a machine. I mean, 6 straight games of multiple hits. He's got 12 straight games with a hit. There's a reason he's batting first in that lineup, and he's doing a real good job with it. Elsewhere, Brandon Compton, like you said, very, very strong start of the season, kind of fallen off the groove a little bit. Is trying to get back into it. But I think there's positive takeaways from these lineup inconsistencies is that, again, they're not necessarily getting the contribution from who they would expect, but they still put up 8 runs today, and they found a way to win the game late. Tobias struggled outside of that one big 2-run RBI. New Contreras struggled outside of that one big home run. And so if they can find that consistency and understand that it's not going to take one at-bat to get it all back, this lineup could still be a real force going forward. And again, even when it wasn't hitting, even when it wasn't clicking, they took the lead back multiple times when the lineup could have wilted. There's been multiple times this season when they have given up a lead in the 9th inning, and then you look down and you look at your lineup card and you're thinking, okay, it's okay that they gave up that lead because the heart of the order is coming up. It happened against Oral Roberts, happened against Minnesota, and in both those games, the heart of the order struggled and was not able to put up the runs late in the game and to complete the comeback after the bullpen blew a save. But tonight was different. And I think that's a big theme of the weekend for ASU is difference. They're entering a new conference. They're seeing different opponents. And when you have that little edge, when you have those last things, when you find that will to win as they did today, that can go a long way in the future.
So, talking about that future, Luke, this is a historical weekend for ASU. Its first series victory at home in Phoenix Muni as a member of the Big 12 against a Kansas team that's bordering on being ranked in many eyes. A very good squad. ASU, like I said, historical weekend. Phoenix Muni just was electric this weekend. On Friday, a near sold-out crowd of nearly 6,000 fans. Today, you had NFL draft prospect Cam Scadaboo in attendance. He got a standing ovation from all of the Sun Devil fans. All of the players in the postgame pressers on Friday were talking about how they can feel the energy and the momentum building behind this program. Willie said that this was the best fan turnout that he had seen while being here, having fans waiting for him outside the tunnel 30 minutes before the game on Friday. And he says that he can feel that energy building as well. Do you feel that? Do you feel like this is a team that could potentially make some noise in the Big 12?
I think it would be hard for me to say that I did until I saw the game I did today. Because so much of what is important in postseason baseball and high leverage regular season baseball as they will play further down the line is how can you grit out tough wins. And tough wins don't have to be low scoring. Tough wins can be high-scoring games where you can't get a consistent pitch across, or can be games where suddenly your bench players are your best players. And I think we saw a little bit of that today, but ASU found a way. Just like Contreras' home run came off the bat, and everybody in the press box kind of leaned back a little bit like, I don't know if that one has it. Everybody at the Kansas dugout shot their fingers in the air saying that's a fly out, that's harmless, but it carried, and it snuck its way over the wall, and it found a way to be a home run. And just like that, ASU found a way to win today. And so down the road, it's going to be important for them to string these kind of gritty wins together. Obviously, if you're Willie Bloomquist, you would love a blowout every time, but that's just not the reality of college baseball. We're seeing it all over the country. It's been as chaotic of a season as ever. But in the Big 12, in their first year in the Big 12, ASU is going to have to be the agents of chaos, but also the agents of control. And when they're out of control, they're going to have to find ways to win. And I think they did a good job of that today. And this could be a sign that they could be turning that corner into being that gritty team that can win the close games. I know Bloomquist, he won't want to say it. He won't want to give his team credit before they've achieved it. But at least today, especially with the palpable energy you just mentioned that you feel around this program, they could be turning that corner very soon.
Well, only time will tell, Luke, if ASU truly can turn that corner, but that's all that we have for today's edition of the Sun Devil Source Baseball Series Recap Show. To keep up with all of our ASU baseball coverage, make sure to check out SunDevilSource.com and check out all of our Sun Devil Source socials. From Jacob Brooks, Luke Lendler, and our entire Sun Devil Source team, we're saying so long from Phoenix Muni.